Uber didn't beat taxi companies by owning more cars. It beat them by owning the system. That one difference changed the math of transportation forever. Because a private fleet has to manage vehicles, drivers, repairs, insurance, and downtime. But a platform can scale without carrying the same weight on its balance sheet. Today, we're putting Uber and private taxi fleets side by side to see which business model really wins when the numbers are exposed. In 2026, the ride-hail industry is a $200 billion global market, and the traditional taxi industry has lost more than 70% of its medallion value in major U.S. cities since 2014. We are going to break down the unit economics of a single taxi ride, the asset-light platform model, the medallion trap that destroyed the old industry, the surge pricing engine that powers platform margin, and the regulatory endgame now reshaping who actually captures the dollar in the back seat. The private fleet unit economics, the cost of owning the car. A private taxi fleet owns every variable of the trip: the car, the driver, the fuel, the insurance, the maintenance. Let's break down one ride. The per-ride math. Average fare in a major U.S. city, $18. Average trip length, 4.5 miles. Average trip time, 18 minutes. The costs: driver wage, W-2 employee, $5.50 per ride in allocated labor. Fuel, $1.20. Vehicle depreciation, a $35,000 sedan over 200,000 miles, 18 cents per mile or 80 cents per ride. Maintenance and tires, 40 cents per ride. Insurance commercial livery, $1.10 per ride. Dispatch and overhead, $1 per ride. Total cost per ride, $10. Gross profit per ride, $8. The utilization problem. That math only works if the car is busy. A taxi is revenue generating roughly 50% to 60% of the time it is on the road. The other 40% to 50% is dead miles, driving empty, looking for the next fare. A taxi doing 30 paid rides a day generates $540 in revenue and $240 in gross profit. That gross profit must then cover the lease payment on the car, the dispatch office rent, the manager's salary, and the fleet owner's profit. After all fixed costs, a single taxi nets roughly $80 to $120 per day to the owner. A 50-car fleet generating $100 per car per day in net profit produces $1.8 million in annual profit. That sounds healthy until you realize the fleet owner has $1.75 million tied up in vehicles and medallions to earn it. The Uber platform economics. Owning the system, not the car. Uber's model inverts every line of the taxi P&L. Uber does not own cars. Uber does not employ drivers. Uber does not buy fuel. Uber does not pay for maintenance. Uber does not carry commercial auto insurance on the fleet. Every one of those costs sits on the driver's personal balance sheet. The per-ride math. Average Uber fare paid by rider, $20. Driver payout, $12 to $14, 60% to 70% of fare. Uber's take rate, 25% to 40%, or $6 to $8 per ride. Uber's direct cost per ride, payment processing, mapping, cloud, support, $1.50. Uber's gross profit per ride, $4.50 to $6.50. Compare this to the private fleet. Private fleet gross profit per ride, $8. Uber gross profit per ride, $5.50. The private fleet actually makes more per ride. So why is Uber worth $140 billion and the taxi fleet worth a fraction of that? The asset math. The private fleet has $35,000 in capital tied up per car. A 50-car fleet has $1.75 million in capital deployed to generate $1.8 million in annual profit. Return on capital, roughly 1 times. Uber has 0 capital tied up per car. Uber can add 1,000 cars to its platform tomorrow and spend $0 on vehicles. The drivers bring their own capital. Uber's return on capital is effectively infinite on the vehicle side. The same dollar of equity builds software and acquires riders, not steel and tires. This is why the platform model is mathematically superior even at a lower per-ride margin. The medallion trap. Why old taxis could not compete. To understand why the taxi industry collapsed so fast, you have to understand the medallion. For decades, major U.S. cities capped the number of taxis through medallions with physical licenses bolted to the hood of the car. In New York City, a medallion cost $250,000 in 2002 and peaked at $1.3 million in 2014. The medallion math, a fleet owner buying 10 medallions at $1 million each had $10 million in capital tied up in licenses alone before buying a single car. That $10 million had to be financed. Interest cost, $400,000 per year. The fleet had to generate enough profit just to service Medallion debt before the owner earned $1. When Uber entered the market with unlimited cars and zero Medallion cost, the Medallion's value collapsed. By 2022, NYC Medallions traded as low as $137,000, a 90% crash. The fleet owners were trapped. They owed $1 million per medallion on an asset now worth $150,000. They could not lower prices enough to compete with Uber because they had a $400,000 annual debt payment per 10 medallions. Uber had no such anchor. This is why the taxi industry did not just lose to Uber on product, it lost on capital structure. The Medallion was an artificial scarcity asset. The platform destroyed the scarcity overnight. Surge pricing, the margin engine the taxis never had. The other structural advantage Uber built is surge pricing. This is not just a feature, it is a margin engine that traditional taxis cannot replicate. The taxi pricing model. Taxis charge a fixed meter rate set by the city, $2.50 base plus 50 cents per fifth of a mile. That rate is the same at 2 a.m. in a rainstorm as it is at noon on a sunny Tuesday. During peak demand, taxis run out. Customers wait. Taxis leave revenue on the table because the price cannot move. The Uber surge model. Uber's algorithm raises prices 1.5 times, 2 times, even 3 times during peak demand. A $20 ride becomes a $50 ride at 1:30 a.m. on New Year's Eve. Driver payout also surges, attracting more drivers onto the road exactly when demand spikes. Uber's take rate is a percentage, so its gross profit also surges. The peak margin math. At 3 times surge, Uber's $5.50 gross profit per ride becomes $16.50. A single high-demand Friday night can generate more gross profit for Uber than an entire weekday of normal rides. Taxis cannot capture this. Their meter is locked. This is why Uber's gross margin on the platform business sits around 35% to 40%, while private taxi fleets typically operate at 15% to 20% gross margin on the same cities. The pricing flexibility is a structural margin advantage the Medallion world cannot match. The driver economics. Why the model has a crack. The driver P&L, an Uber driver grossing $1,500 a week sounds great. But the driver pays for fuel, insurance, depreciation, maintenance, and self-employment taxes. Realistic driver costs. Fuel, $180. Vehicle depreciation, own car, not fleet, $250. Maintenance and tires, $80. Personal auto insurance with rideshare endorsement, $60. Self-employment tax, 15.3%, $200. Uber's commission is already taken before the driver sees the $1,500. Net driver take home, roughly $730 per week. That is $38,000 per year before income tax. For a full-time worker using their own car, this is the actual math. It is not a windfall. The driver is essentially liquidating their vehicle's value over time and being paid for it. This is why driver turnover on Uber is over 90% annually. The model only works because new drivers constantly enter, often without understanding depreciation. This is the crack in the platform model. The fleet driver earns a wage. The Uber driver is a small business owner who often does not realize they are losing money on their own car until tax season. The verdict. Who wins in 2026? So which model actually wins? The taxi fleet wins in markets where Medallion debt is already paid off and demand is regulated, airport pickups, hotel contracts, corporate accounts, and cities that have capped rideshare. The fleet also wins on driver retention because W-2 drivers with benefits stay for years. The platform wins everywhere else. Uber's asset-light structure lets it scale infinitely. Surge pricing lets it harvest peak demand, and data lets it optimize routing in real time. The platform is worth 50 times a taxi fleet on the same revenue because the platform owns the customer relationship and the routing layer. The real winner, the actual winner of the last decade has been the rider. Average urban trip prices fell 20% to 30% in real terms between 2015 and 2023. Wait times collapsed from 20 minutes to 4 minutes. The Medallion owner lost. The driver got squeezed. The platform captured the equity. The rider got the deal. The next chapter is autonomous. When Uber and Lyft deploy Robotaxis at scale, the driver cost, the largest line in the entire P&L, drops to zero. The fleet owner has nothing to compete with. The platform wins the entire pie. Uber did not win by being a better taxi company. Uber won by refusing to be a taxi company at all. The Medallion fleet owned cars and hoped demand showed up. The platform owned demand and let drivers bring the cars. That single inversion turned a $1 million medallion into a $150,000 liability and turned a software company into a $140 billion market cap. If this breakdown helped you see the numbers behind the back seat, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see the math behind other industries being rewritten by platforms, hit that subscribe button. We have a lot more to uncover.